Mom, Dad, make yourselves at home. I've already told Mindy you are staying for 3 weeks.
We always feel bad, Mindy. But our visit is for your sake too, so no complaints, right? Yes, it's fine. No complaints. This will be the last time anyway.
What?
My husband Dean and my in-laws simultaneously said that, looking dumbfounded. I didn't care and pulled out the divorce papers from the drawer and thrust them at him. I'm saying, I can't do this anymore. So let's get a divorce.
Divorce?
My name is Mindy, a 32-year-old housewife. I've been married to Dean for 2 years. We were colleagues working at the same company. Initially, I didn't feel any romantic feelings, but as we worked together on a project and spent more time together, we got closer quickly. That led to a relationship, and eventually, we got married. He wanted me to be a homemaker after marriage, so I left my job. Our married life started, and it was blissful. I took care of the house while he worked, and we spent quality time as a couple. Then after a year, I got pregnant, and he was overjoyed at the prospect of becoming a father. Now, we live as a family of 3 with our 1-year-old daughter Sarah. However, lately, Dean has been a candidate for a promotion at work, which means a lot of overtime and weekend work. It's sad not having family time, but I appreciate it because we need the money with a child. But I still hope for basic communication. He used to always let me know if he was going to be late, but recently, he's stopped doing that. I want to know if he will be home for dinner, if he will catch the last train. I worry when I don't hear from him and he comes home past midnight. It's frustrating when he doesn't respond to my messages, so I end up blurting out complaints. Welcome home. I wish you'd let me know when you'll be late because of overtime.
How am I supposed to reply when I'm busy with work?
It wouldn't take more than a minute to send a message saying you will be late. Are you really that busy you can't spare a minute?
Yeah, I am. Is that a problem?
His defiant attitude was irritating. Fine. Did you eat?
I've already eaten.
I was about to warm up leftovers when he said that and headed to the bathroom. I thought, then why didn't you tell me you didn't need dinner? It feels like he's taking me for granted, and it irked me because it felt like he was looking down on housewives. We've had several small fights like this lately. Our marriage has become like this, and the thought of it makes me sad. He was so happy when our daughter was born. Maybe he has changed because he's too busy with work. Dean wasn't there for the birth, but he came to the hospital right after. Both our families were happy about Sarah, but in just a year, his attitude has changed so much. I tried to talk to him to improve our relationship. I understand you're busy, but we should spend time together as a family on your days off, don't you think? He just lounges around at home on his days off. I don't mind if we don't go for drives. Just a walk in the park or a trip to the mall would be nice. I dread the day our daughter wants to play with her dad, and he's too busy. I don't want her to be sad. So I really want Dean to understand the importance of spending time with our family while we can. Despite my earnest effort to convince him, he just dismisses me saying,
I'm too busy.
He wouldn't listen to me at all. Instead, he came up with an unbelievable idea.
If you're feeling lonely, I will just call Mom and Dad over.
What? You mean my parents?
What? No, not your parents. They live far away, so it's hard for them to come. I'm talking about my parents.
Huh?
Yeah, that's a good idea. You'll be less lonely, and I can make my parents happy by letting them see their grandchild. It's a win-win.
Wait a minute. That's not what I want.
Don't be modest. I will call them right away.
He said that and started calling his parents. The next day, they came to our house.
Where is my Princess Sarah? I want to hold her first.
No, hush. I'm going to be the first to hold her. Please, she just fell asleep. Keep quiet, please. My in-laws ignored me and woke Sarah by picking her up. She had just fallen asleep 5 minutes ago. She started crying, and they left her with me and went to the living room. After I finally got her back to sleep, they asked for coffee, as if they were in their own house. I reluctantly made coffee, thinking, well, you sure look comfortable being here. And that's when I noticed they had brought a lot of luggage with them. Nancy, Ben, what on earth have you brought? Their response was shocking. Just some clothes and stuff, because we are going to stay for a while. What? I was speechless. I texted Dan and called him. He finally picked up the phone during his lunch break, sounding annoyed.
Geez, what do you want?
Listen, I didn't know your parents were staying. Aren't they just visiting during the day?
Well, I always come home late, so it's better if they stay over the night, right?
But they were saying they are staying for a while. How long are they planning to stay?
Maybe about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
What are you complaining about? They're there for you. Be grateful. I'm busy, so I'm going to hang up now.
No, wait! He hung up. After that, he didn't respond to any of my texts. Following this incident, my in-laws began staying with us nearly every month for 2-week periods. They would entertain Sarah for a while, but then leave her alone or call me when she cried. And of course, they didn't do any housework and made a mess. I had to do all the laundry and meal preparation. Instead of just caring for my daughter, I now had to deal with my in-laws too, which only increased my stress. Dean seemed satisfied, thinking I wouldn't feel lonely with them around. He assumed their presence was helping me. Even when I said, "Stop inviting them," he would reply,
"Don't be shy,"
and never listened. And every month, at some random time, he would say,
"My parents are coming over this weekend."
I finally reached my limit and strongly objected. "That's enough. Don't invite your parents anymore."
"Why not?"
"It's too much with them here. On top of caring for Sarah, I have to take care of 2 more adults."
"What's with that tone? I'm inviting them for your sake."
"What I want is to spend time as a family with you and Sarah. It's not about being lonely."
"That's selfish. I'm busy. That's why I'm inviting them."
"When they are here, I have to be on my toes, and the housework increases. Not to mention the living expenses are going up."
"You should just manage it better. Don't blame them. Anyway, they are coming over this month. They like this house and are looking forward to seeing Sarah."
"That's not right." He again agreed to have his parents stay over. And as if it was normal, they came. Recently, they've gotten used to living here, and their demands have increased.
"The water pressure in the shower is too low."
"Mindy, make French toast for breakfast."
"The food's been bland lately. Make something with more spice to it."
"Do some shopping for me, Mindy."
"Pick up the package I ordered online."
"Oh, let's get rid of this furniture to make the room bigger."
"Great idea. Then we can fit a sofa bed without it being cramped."
"This room isn't yours, and I'm not your housekeeper." My frustration kept building up. I had reached my breaking point. I decided to talk to Dean once my in-laws' stay was over this month. I can't do this anymore. Stop inviting your parents.
What? Seriously, you're so selfish.
The selfish ones are your parents. It's like having 3 children around.
Stop with that tone. They are coming for you.
That's not true. They are here because it's convenient for them. If you really care about me, I don't want them coming over anymore.
What the hell? I won't allow you to treat my parents like that. And you want to deprive them of seeing their granddaughter?
Then take Sarah to see them at your parents' house.
I'm always busy with work. It's difficult for me. Even on my days off, I have to go to work more often now.
No matter what I said, he always used work as an excuse and wouldn't listen. It's almost ridiculous that he's this busy with work. I started to get angry at his company for putting so much work on him. It seemed like they were overworking him, maybe even violating labor laws. With these thoughts, I reached out to a former colleague, Rita. Is it really that busy now? Dean seems busier than when I was at the company. Her response was unexpected. No, not really. The last few years have been about the same as when you were here. Really? Dean always comes home after midnight and often works on weekends. He does? No, he usually leaves on time. He says he's going home to a delicious dinner you've made. I thought you two were a happy couple. You're kidding. He said that? Rita seems to realize then that Dean was keeping secrets from me. I would keep a closer eye on him. I left monitoring Dean at the office to her and started paying closer attention to his behavior at home. As much as I don't want to admit this, if he's lying about working overtime or on weekends, it's highly likely he could be cheating. I decided to hire a private investigator to gather solid evidence. As I observed him at home, I noticed something. No matter how lazy he was at home, he always kept his phone in his pocket. He took it with him everywhere, even to the bathroom and shower. He used to leave his phone on the table, and often forgot where it was, asking me to find it. He would go,
Where did I put my phone?
In the bedroom, and look under the bed, only for me to find it in the living room. That was his routine. He also recently mentioned wanting to get better clothes, which seemed like a change to impress someone else. Now that I suspected infidelity, everything seemed like an effort to look good for someone else. My suspicions about Dean made dealing with his parents even more burdensome. Why should I take care of his parents? Why, he's possibly out with another woman. 2 weeks after I started suspecting Dean's infidelity, the detective agency sent me their report. Long story short, he was indeed having an affair with a junior colleague at his company. Rita also provided information about his behavior at work. They seemed quite close, often going to lunch together. Armed with this evidence, I decided to divorce Dean. First, I needed a job. I had to support my daughter as a single mother. I explained the situation to my parents, and my mother came over to take care of my daughter during the day while I went for job interviews. Soon, I landed a full-time job. Next, I needed to find a place for my daughter and me to live. That was quickly resolved when Rita told me of a vacant unit in her building. I had admired the layout and affordable rent when I visited her before. I contacted a real estate agent, viewed the apartment, and signed the lease. Everything was set for my new life. I was ready to bring Dean's world crashing down. As I was planning the divorce, he spoke to me one day.
My parents are staying over this week.
Oh, okay. It didn't matter to me anymore, so I didn't object.
I have a business trip this week. It won't be home.
Is that so? There were never business trips at that company. He was probably going on a trip with his mistress.
So I'm having my parents stay for 3 weeks this time. You wouldn't be lonely, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm happy that I get bring you down soon. I almost blurted out my true feelings, but I restrained myself. He seems excited. It's so obvious when you pay attention. I hadn't noticed before because I loved and trusted him so much. But now, there was no love left for him. I was ready to sever ties completely. A few days later, Nancy and Ben arrived. You are earlier than expected. Dean has a business trip today, right? We thought we'd see him before he leaves.
Mom and Dad, make yourselves at home. I've told Mindy you're staying for 3 weeks.
We always feel bad, Mindy. Don't worry about it. But we are here for you, so no complaints, right? Dean prepared his suitcase and said,
I'm off then.
While we were talking. Ignoring him, I looked at his parents and said, Yes, it's fine, no complaints, because this will be the last time.
What?
The three simultaneously looked shocked.
Mindy, what do you mean by the last time?
Exactly what it sounds like. I'm leaving this house today.
What? Leaving? What are you talking about?
That's ridiculous. You're being unreasonable.
How can you just decide this all of a sudden?
They were red-faced and angry. I calmly pulled out the divorce papers from the drawer and presented them to Dean. I'm saying I can't continue living like this with you, so let's get a divorce.
Divorce?
He was visibly shaken.
Why do you want a divorce?
His parents were also shocked. What are you unhappy about?
You should hash this out with him before making such a decision.
You might not be aware, but we're beyond repair. I said this and spread out the photos of his affair, which I had received from the detective agency on the table. Dean turned pale at the sight, and his parents were wide-eyed in shock. I can't continue our marriage with someone who cheats. That's why I'm divorcing you. I will be seeking alimony and child support.
But...
He was desperate and started begging.
Wait! I admit I had an affair. It was a moment of weakness. I haven't seen her since that time in the photos. Believe me. You will have trouble finding a place to live and a job if we divorce, right?
His lies were just too much. They only served to destroy any remaining trust. An affair with a junior colleague, and you say you haven't seen her since? And about your business trip, I heard from a former colleague that you've taken leave starting today. Where are you going and with whom? He just sweated and fell silent. His parents were speechless, probably never imagining their son would cheat. By the way, about what you said, I've already found a new job and a place to live, so no problem there. Just sign the divorce papers. If you refuse, I'm ready to take legal action. With that, I grabbed my pre-packed belongings and left the house with my daughter. Dean slumped on the spot, and his parents stood there dumbfounded. Thanks to overwhelming evidence, the divorce was finalized with Dean at fault. I received alimony and child support from Dean and his mistress. He struggled financially after paying the alimony, so the child support was in installments. If he missed any payments, I planned to take legal action. Not surprisingly, the affair scandal spread throughout Dean's workplace, and his mistress resigned due to lack of support. Dean, who had pretended to be a devoted husband, was now coldly treated by his colleagues. But he couldn't quit his job because he had to pay the alimony and child support. His parents, who had been staying over half a month at a time at our house and avoiding their expenses and chores, now struggle with increased living costs and the burden of housework. Apparently, they had been using the money they saved from staying with us to live luxuriously and couldn't adjust to their old budget. Dean sent me emails asking me to come back because his parents were struggling, but I ignored them and blocked his number and all contact. Meanwhile, I successfully started my new job, and my daughter was in daycare. I'm working hard as a single mother. The former colleague Rita and I visit each other's rooms on weekends and have fun. She adores my daughter. Having a reliable adult nearby is truly invaluable. I'm determined to work hard for my daughter and enrich my own life as well.